Hey everybody, it's Brooke with The Buttered Home and welcome to my messy kitchen. Today we have another great tailgating or couch gating recipe for you, and this is our chicken roll-ups. Y'all, this is an appetizer that eats like a meal. It's fantastic and it's really simple to do. There are just like 3 components to it. There's the filling, the chicken, and then the baking process. So we do sear the chicken first, but we stuff it before we do that. And before we get started, we're going to make a beautiful sauce to baste it in the oven. So I'm going to turn my heat on, and then we're going to show you how to do this. Okay, so in my pot, I have 1/4 of a cup, and it's trying to fall in there. Y'all bear with me. We're having a little technical, slow today. We have 1/4 of a cup of chicken broth, and to that we're gonna add in 1/4 of a cup of balsamic vinegar. And look, don't get nervous about all that balsamic vinegar. It's not gonna taste vinegary. That's why we're heating all this together. So then we have 2 tablespoons of fresh honey that go in. And then here we have 2 tablespoons of garlic and 2 tablespoons of Italian dressing powder. You can also use prepared Italian dressing in the bottle as well. But I had this powder left over, so we're gonna use that. We're gonna put all that garlic in there. We want all that good flavor. And you really don't have to do much in the way of bringing this to a boil. You really only want to just heat it until, like me, if you're using the ranch powder, it dissolves and the honey dissolves into the broth and the balsamic vinegar. So it's only going to take just a minute. I'm having to hold my pot steady and try to get this Italian dressing to dissolve. Hey, this is why we call it the messy kitchen, because you just never know what's gonna happen. When I set up for this, I thought this would be perfect because it has the lip on it. And it is, it's fine. We don't have to do anything else. And see, my Italian dressing, it's just about dissolved. I no longer feel the 2 tablespoons of honey in the bottom, and I'm starting to smell the vinegar cook off. So we're just gonna cook this just a minute more. And it doesn't matter if at this point all your vinegar cooks off or not, because it is also going to be in the oven. So we're gonna set that to the side and replace with a cast iron skillet with about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in here that we're going to allow to come up to heat while we assemble our chicken. Now, here I have 3 whole chicken breasts that I have butterflied, split, and then put in between plastic wrap, and I don't have a meat tenderizer, so you can do what I did. And if you have a rolling pin, or if you have a canned good, you can simply just beat this out in between plastic wrap and get it as thin as you possibly can. So we have these beautiful chicken tenderloins all ready to stuff. But before I stuff them, we're gonna season them with just a little bit of salt and pepper. And I'm just doing the insides right now because we'll get the outside before we put it in the pan. There are really simple, beautiful flavor components that we use in this recipe that really turn into an outstanding dish. So I'm gonna just slide those up. And then here I have 2 Roma tomatoes that I've diced, 1/4 of a cup of diced red onion, but feel free to use yellow or white or whatever you have on hand. And then we have about 1/8 of a cup of chopped bell pepper, whatever color. I say the more colorful the better, because this dish is very pretty and it's pleasing to the eyes. And then to that, we're gonna put in 2/3 a cup of shredded, and I like the finely shredded mozzarella cheese for this. And we're just gonna mix that together just until it's combined. Lots of fresh vegetables in this that really turn this into a beautiful dish. Now here's where the magic happens. I have some toothpicks over here, and we only want to use 1 or 2 per tenderloin. So I'm just going to take a spoonful, and it doesn't have to be perfect, and it's going to be messy, okay? If you don't like to make a mess when you cook, then this may not be the recipe for you. So we're going to gently take that and try to keep as much of it together as we can, and then we're going to secure it with about 2 of those toothpicks. And it doesn't matter if a lot of that falls out, we're gonna use that later on. Then we're going to put that into our hot oil and pan and do that with each of the same of these tenderloins. And the key to this recipe is having everything ready before you assemble it, and then you don't have so much time that in between that you have to waste. Now you are going to have some of this mixture left over, and that's fine. I like to just take mine off the mat and just kind of pile it up. And one pro tip, as soon as these get done, take those toothpicks out. You don't want anybody at your tailgate to bite into those toothpicks. And we're just gonna pile that up, roll it over, secure those ends with those toothpicks, just to keep what we can in it. Pop it in our pan. I think doing this on a cutting mat like this helps too. I don't like making a mess whenever I cook, so when I said that, I'm talking to myself. So it just makes me feel better that I have it on a mat, and then I don't feel like I have as much to clean up. Now you can buy the breast tenderloins, but I find that whenever I buy the tenderloins, they're a little smaller than I like them. And you want these kind of big, so that's why I like buying the whole breast and then making them the size that I want. Put that big guy in the middle. And then see, all those are browning while we're finishing up stuffing our chicken. Now they're all pretty in there, and we're gonna reserve this because after we brown the chicken, it's all gonna go on top and it'll all go in the oven together. I'm gonna set that over here to the side, go wash my hands. Anytime you handle chicken, you wanna make sure that you thoroughly wash your hands and thoroughly wash your work surface whenever you're done. Now we're gonna start with the ones. All right, now here's the trick to browning chicken. If it moves freely and is not stuck to the bottom, then it's good to turn. And see, we got a little caramelization going on over here. And I try to just do this in the order that I placed them in the pan. All right, see, that one's still a little sticky. This one's sticky as well because I put these 4 in last. So if you can't move it, don't force it. Here we go. We're getting a nice little brown color on the chicken. It's so pretty. And doing this kind of helps hold the juices in the chicken. And sometimes whenever you flatten them out like this, they tend to get a little dry easily in the oven. By searing the chicken roll-ups this way ahead of time, you can kind of avoid or keep that from happening. And if you've got your heat on medium to high heat like this, it really just doesn't take long. So we're gonna brown these on all sides. When it gets done, we're going to drizzle this beautiful sauce over the top and then top it with the remainder of our peppers, onions, tomatoes, and cheese. This will go into a 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes. At that point, I come and I get a big spoon, I tilt my pan, and I baste all of the chicken roll-ups at that time, and then put them back in the oven for another 15 to 20 minutes until they're done. So we're gonna let this finish, and I'm gonna do all that. When it comes out of the oven, we'll be back, and we're gonna top it with some shredded basil and show you how perfect these chicken roll-ups are. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, we are back. My trusty producer pointed out a huge mistake that I made whenever I was assembling the chicken. So we are about food safety first. So I mistakenly handled the chicken, even though it was dry, I handled it with both hands. Now, normally I am very careful, or either when I handle chicken in the kitchen, I do it with gloves. But then when I put it down, I accidentally used my salt well. So while this was cooking, just wanted to reassure you that we dumped the salt that was in the salt well and cleaned it thoroughly. So safety first, right? At least I can admit when I mess up, and I did mess up. But y'all, these finished a 20-minute first cook time. Then I took them out of the oven and I simply just tilted my pan like so, and then just dipped up this liquid and basted it over the top, just like that. And then I returned them to the oven for another 15 minutes until their internal temperature reached about 165 degrees. We have let them rest just a minute because that way it kind of holds the juices in that we spent so long ensuring that we would have by searing the chicken first. And let's show you how beautiful they are. So here I've taken one out of the pan already, and I've just kind of dressed it with a little bit of that balsamic gravy, I guess you want to call it. But look how pretty they are in the pan. So at this point, I just like to take some basil that I have just cut into ribbons and just dress the top so that they'll have a little pop of green. And this is green and purple basil. And y'all, they are gorgeous. All that cheese is good and melty. I have taken the toothpicks out with my tongs, and now I'm about to cut in and show you what perfect little rolls these are. And I lost some of the goodie inside, but there is cheese melted in there, and y'all, it's fantastic. They are gorgeous, they are filling, and they are so much more than an appetizer. So if you're looking for something a little bit different to have at your tailgate or your couch gate, or even for supper on a Tuesday night, these chicken roll-ups are it. They'll be unexpected at a tailgate or a party, and people will be just absolutely glad that they're there because they're a little heavier. They're more like a meal. So this is our very special appetizer for our chicken roll-ups. We hope that you will try this recipe and take a picture and send it to us. As always, I love pictures of food, so be sure you do that. And make sure that you are following us on all of our social channels. We cook live from time to time over at Facebook and Instagram, and would love to have you join us there. And also be sure that you are following us over at YouTube. And when you get there, subscribe to our channel and ding the bell so that you can be notified when we drop new videos like this one. So y'all come back next week. We'll have another great tailgating appetizer for you that I'm super excited about, and I know you will be too. So we'll see y'all then. From the buttered home to your home, we love y'all. Bye.